Hello, everybody. So as you can see, I am here with Rachel, and we have this really cool site called astro.com up. Now, we've mentioned that before, but today Rachel's going to do something really cool for us. She's going to walk us through, one, how to input information into Astro, two, how to make a starseed chart. Yay! So exciting. This is what we're going to be doing because I know how to do astrological charts. I don't know how to find the starseeds and do that. So I volunteered to be the student today. So without further ado, I'm going to let Rachel take it away. Go ahead.
Okay, so the first thing that you're going to want to do is go to astro.com and create an account. You don't have to create an account until after you add new data, but I would suggest doing that first. So then all of your data that you do for you and your spouse or your boyfriend or your kids or whatever is all going to be in one place, and you can always go back to it. So I have here the birth data entry. So which name should I put in here?
You can put Brandon Porter.
Okay. And he is a male.
Yes.
And what is his birthday?
His birthday is May 17th, 1985.
And the hour?
3 a.m.
Exactly?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And where was he born?
Chicago, Illinois.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, pause.
Usually it'll come up. There we go. Okay, so when you go press continue, it's going to take you back to the list, and I've already added him here. So I just wanted to show you
how to
do that.
There he is.
So this is what you're going to come to, and you might be sort of like, okay, now what? If you want to see their regular chart, you would click on this, and it would just take you to their regular astrology chart. And that is where most people end up. And it is very helpful to have this. I actually use this for starseed readings as well, because if you look closely, you can see the degrees are right here, which makes it super easy to match up with something like this, which tells you where the starseed alignments are. This is something that I made using Aspen Rain's book, The Starseed Compass. She has it all in table form, which was hard for me because I'm a visual person. So I had to make a map. And basically this tells you the aspects for each starseed race, the major starseed races. And actually there's like a lot more than this. So I feel like I'm going to have to make more maps because I can't fit them all here. But for now, just for this video, we're going to just focus on the main ones, you know, Sirians, Lyrans, Pleiadians, Draconians, Orions, all of those. So do you have any questions so far, Miranda?
No, this part of it is like pretty straight. Well, it's pretty straightforward, but at the same time too, I feel like this is a separate video just talking about the races and where they fall. I think most people who are watching this already kind of know what the races are and hopefully kind of where they come from. I agree, but I also think there are going to be some people that might just pop in because they see starseeds and starseed chart and they're like, oh, this is cool. And then they're like, Syrian, Arcturus, what?
Yeah, if that's you right now, I would say maybe you should go to a different video and find out about starseeds first and then come back to this when you're ready. But this is for people who are really trying to find
but yeah, no,
the
so
chart.
This part of it's pretty, actually, this makes it a lot easier to understand now.
Yeah, I feel like it does too.
Yeah, okay.
So for example, right here, and you do kind of have to read astrological aspect symbols, which isn't that hard to learn, but like you can see right here, I have a conjunct with Libra. 23 to 25 degrees Libra is Arcturus.
Oh, Sagittarius. Who are these?
In the Sagittarius constellation?
The Trine one.
The Trine one is the Andromeda Galaxy. And so the way that Aspen explains it in her book with the Andromedans is that different aspects, all that means is that you have different karma from that place that you have to integrate, or that you already integrated properly. So
is this sextile? The bottom one?
I can't see what you're pointing at.
Sorry. That would be helpful. Sag Octurus.
Oh yeah, the 23 to 25 degrees.
So then the top trine one, that's Sag, and I think it's Talseti?
Yes, that's in Cetus, or it's trine Cetus, which is the whale, and that's where the Cetaceans are from, basically.
Okay.
But yeah, what you're really looking for is conjunctions. That's going to tell you where you're really from, like where you have your origins in your star chart. But it is helpful if you have aspects to those places. It could tell you maybe you have.
So for example, trines would be something to consider. Like, so if we're going to if you look at starseeds from an astrological standpoint, just like, I'll do this really, really quick. Trines are something to consider because trines is an area in your life or in your chart that comes naturally and easy to you, to the point where you sometimes take it for granted and you don't develop it the way that you should. But it's it's an area of your natural gifts. So depending on what constellation and what starseed sort of grouping that trine falls in, like let's say it falls in your 4th house with this planetary alignment, whatever, it could represent a part of your karma, though, too, that could be easier for you to integrate and work through. So if you're new to this and trying to muddle through it, that might be a good place to start as well.
Yeah, and it's important to look at which planetary or celestial body is in that aspect. So if you have, like, your sun trine the Pleiades or something, you're going to want to look at that a little more closely than, say, like, I don't know, like Pluto conjunct something. It's like, okay, well, like pretty much there's a whole generation of people that have that alignment. So it might not be as meaningful for you. It might be more of a soul group kind of thing.
Looking at the celestial bodies that move quicker. I understand what you're saying. Okay.
And asteroids are a new thing with astrology. And I feel like they're important with starseed origins too.
See, now that's something I definitely want you to touch on, because I have no idea about deal with asteroids.
One of the things that I'm realizing is that our souls are so multifaceted, and they can be, like, if you think about group souls or like multiple soul energies that are integrated into one ego body, like you can literally have hundreds and hundreds of different souls in one person. So you might have beings where you are incarnated in another lifetime in some other parallel reality in, let's say, Spica or something, and that is going to influence your energy, and that is going to show up on your chart, maybe very faintly. Maybe it's going to be a square or something like a sextile energy, but like, I don't know. Those are like more minute details that if you're really into this, you can definitely go into, but it would take a lot of time for you to do that. I look at conjunctions first, and then if it's something major, like you have a bunch of stars in one constellation that are showing up, I'm like, oh, that means something. And then I look at that too.
Okay.
So let's just look at Brandon's chart. Let's go back to this. So this chart is helpful for matching up with this astrological chart, because you can look at the numbers right here and just say, oh, it's 14 degrees Aries. I wonder what that is, But this doesn't give you the level of detail that.
So what do the degrees do?
The degrees just tell you the location in the sky approximately.
Which would help with the constellation, correct?
Yes, because the constellations have a specific location as well.
Okay, I understand that. Okay.
The only caveat that I have with this method, and the reason why I prefer the actual star chart that I'm going to show you in a minute, is because the degrees are changing slightly. So it's not like when Brandon was born.
For example, maybe Sagittarius was sitting this degree this way, but now it's like a few degrees higher or lower.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, the fixed stars are fixed, but they're actually not. Like, nothing in the universe is fixed. We're all in motion. So it's a little bit complicated and confusing to say like, oh, it was exactly aligned at 16 degrees such and such, because that's not where the stars necessarily were at that time when he was born.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I think it's accurate to some degree, and if it resonates, then sure. And if you align with the descriptions of the certain races that you're seeing in your chart, then great. But if you want it to be a little more exact, you're going to have to go in here and go to the extended chart selection.
Okay.
Okay, and then I always select all of the multiple objects through the asteroids.
Okay.
I don't worry about all of these eclipses, and you don't want to select any fixed stars in this because you only want the ones to show up that are aligned.
Okay.
And I'm also going to add, that's Atlantis, because for whatever reason, they didn't list it over here on the left.
Okay, so the ones you've highlighted these are all ones that are gonna.
So these are going to show up, and then you'll see what stars are aligned with them.
Okay, so you did basically all of the asteroids?
All the ones that are on here. Oh, and I also forgot Icarus. It would be nice to know where Icarus is. I'm pretty sure it's...
And then can you just show me the section of fixed stars?
Yeah, that's down here. But I wouldn't select any unless you're really, really curious about a particular one. Because what's going to happen is it'll show up, but it's not. It might show up and it's not aligned with anything.
Okay,
and then you're going to think you have an alignment when you go.
So how do you get the constellations? How do you get the constellations to show up?
I'll show you in just a second.
Okay, sorry. I'm like...
This is just setting it up. I'm trying to figure out.
No, sorry. I'm jumping ahead. I will.
1566. I always forget Icarus. Sorry, Icarus. But I do think he's an important asteroid. So this is where you go under natal chart wheel.
1198 is Atlantis.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I'm writing this down.
That's fine. You're gonna go to where it says Astrodienst fixed stars.
Okay.
And then you're going to click to show the chart. And voila. Dang. Yeah.
I know.
So.
Yeah, he's like...
his chart reminds me of my dad so much. It's hilarious. Okay. So there's a lot going on here. And when there's a lot going on, it's like, all right, where do we start? I would start with the sun. Where's the sun?
He's a Taurus, so right
here. And okay, I know it looks like it's in Gemini, but it's only because they don't have enough room in the inner circle.
Yeah, I see that.
This is also why I prefer to have both of the charts pulled up at the same time. Have the astrology chart and the star chart next to each other, because you kind of need to know where they are, and it's definitely pushing it off of where it really is.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing his sun is right there in Taurus, and it looks like it's aligned with the star Algol, which is like the head of Medusa. It's considered kind of like a demon star.
It's the star I'm working up to channeling.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah. And then right next door, he's got his Chiron in Pleiades.
Oh.
And specifically, he has a connection to the Hyades, which the planet, I don't know if they call it hiatus or something. It's where the Lyrans fled to when their planet was destroyed. So the Lyrans' planet was destroyed by the reptilians, and then they moved to the Pleiades and this one planet of Hyades, or Hyades, where the Hyades stars are. So if you see that in a chart, you know that it's in the Pleiades, but it's more like Hyadian. And you can look up Hyadian people. I don't know if I spelled that right. I think I have to put Starseed in there.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at his
They're just calling it Pleiades starseeds.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're white lion beings, or
Ooh.
yeah, interesting. Because well, the Lyrans are very associated with the felines.
Yes, they're also connected to the gods that you see in ancient Egypt. They think a lot of them were Lyran, which is why cats have such a significance.
Yeah.
In Egyptian culture.
So, and you can see over here on the right, like how many different races there are.
Jesus. Yeah.
And you can even see like felines and Orions. So just because you feel like you're a feline being, it doesn't mean you're from Lyra automatically. Like you could be from a lot of different places. So there's that. Okay. Back to the chart. The next thing I do is I sort of look at it, and wherever I'm drawn to is kind of what I focus on. I'm seeing his moon in Myra, which I've seen before. Myra is like a pretty big star in Pisces.
Okay.
The constellation of Pisces.
Yeah.
I know it's confusing because it's actually not in Pisces. It looks like it's in Aries right now in this chart. Because the zodiac is parading around, it's traveling, moving.
Yes.
But the constellations are fixed, so they're kind of stationary. And I say that with quotations because they're not actually stationary, but they're stationary relative to us for the most part. Okay, and then you have this up here, the Sagittarius, and his galactic center is like almost exactly lined up with the midheaven.
So his moon?
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. No, never mind. It's actually not relevant. So you said his galactic center, which is right there, is almost, oh my gosh.
Right? And that's pretty crazy to be like so right there.
With his midday.
Yeah, and your midheaven has to do with like your career and your life purpose and your legacy.
I can tell you. Give me 2 seconds. Midheaven. So yeah, your mark on the world. So reveals a facet of your personality when it comes to work style, intellectual strengths, and where success is most natural.
Yeah, so this is kind of confusing because I know he is not really into this stuff.
Completely. Well, actually, so this is where it'd be interesting. For me to discuss starseeds with him and to get him involved in that, I actually think I could because it's scientific. He believes in aliens. He believes in there being more intelligent life forms and beings. Like, he could get behind the whole starseed idea. Like, he'll never be able to get behind the idea of like, well, I shouldn't say never. At this current moment, he wouldn't be able to get behind the idea of like reincarnation maybe, or like, communing with spirits or spirit guides or that type of thing. But if I were to be like, okay, but your spirit guides are actually extraterrestrial beings that are high, then he'd go, oh, okay. Like that, he'd be like, oh yeah, science makes sense. Cool, okay.
Yeah. I mean, if I saw this chart and I didn't know the person personally, I would be like, wow, this person is majorly involved in the ascension, like majorly, and they're going to play a role.
No, but I could see that with him. Because one of the things I've started noticing him doing, and I think that's part of my role in our relationship, is like with his family members now, if they're struggling, he's like, you should talk to her. She knows stuff. Like, you should go to her for a tarot reading. You should go to her you should check out her blog. You should read her. And because he has that presence where when he says stuff, people listen. And they just trust him. Like, he'll tell them and they're like, oh yeah, well, Brayden said I should, so I'm going to do it. So I think he's going to play a bigger role than he realizes. I just think most of it's going to be subconscious.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is like, it's here and I don't know what it means yet, but it clearly is important. He also has these alignments with Spiculum, Polis, Cowspore, I think
the Sagittarius collection, the cluster.
These are all, actually Spiculum is the Lagoon Nebula in Sagittarius, which I think pretty much everyone has seen this picture. The Hubble telescope took this picture of the Lagoon Nebula a while ago. And it's like, I don't know. I recognized it when I saw it, but maybe I'm just a nerd.
Oh yeah, everyone knows this picture.
Right?
This was such an iconic picture for such a long time.
Yeah. So
like
I
when
feel
people think of space, they thought of this.
Yeah. So I'm definitely feeling like there is a connection with this place, and there is like no information online about specific races that come from this place, but I did some research scientifically speaking, and they do have planets there. Like there are planets, which means there are beings there.
Yes.
We just need to channel them. So I think that is what we are supposed to be doing, because we're connected to them, and obviously he has a few star alignments there in Neptune, which means it's a pretty old incarnation. If you see Neptune, Uranus, Pluto, it's going to be an older life.
Okay.
Or an older energy. It could even be like a group soul energy. But when you look at the more recent, like let's say here's Saturn, that would be an interesting one to look at. Mars is in Pisces with like 4 different stars, and it looks like one of them is in Cetus, but I think that's Eris, the asteroid that's there. Wow, he's got a lot going on in his
yeah.
And I can't see, that's another thing, is I can't tell what house it is, because you see how the house lines are all wonky. They're these orange dotted lines.
Yeah, okay.
And they're off center, so you can't tell because you don't have the
So which one are you, which house are you trying to figure out? Because I have his astrological chart in front of me.
Wherever his his Venus.
Venus is in...
It should be in Aries.
It is in Aries. So that is his... Wait, let me just make sure I have the right one. That is his first house.
Okay, so you see how his ascendant and his descendant make a circle?
Yes.
Isn't that interesting? That doesn't happen all the time. Like if you look over here, I have a different chart pulled up. This is a little easier because there's no circle. You can see the ascendant, the descendant, the IC, and the midheaven.
Yeah.
This is Rudolf Steiner's chart, which I was like inspired this morning to look up, because I was like, oh ho ho, and look what he has: Spiculum over here.
Ooh.
The Lagoon Nebula and Polis. And he has the galactic center, which does not surprise me at all.
Yes.
But yeah, like every chart is going to be a little different. The one like Brandon's is the hardest to read. And I absolutely have to have the astrological chart pulled up right next to it, because I can't. I'm just like, where is this? And I don't know what house that's in.
So Venus sits in his first house, actually.
Okay. So I would almost say that he has a lot of energy coming from these stars.
Yeah.
And from Myra and Torculary, however you say that. But also you want to look at their nodes. Where are the nodes? There's one. I think that's the ascending, so the descending should be across from it. Did I not turn it on? Okay, guys, let me show you how to do this. You got to go back and select the descending node. The descending node tells you...
So his descending... descending node, let me see.
I just wanted to show up in here.
So but it sits in...
another little Zubin popped up.
It sits in Virgo.
Okay. Really? Because it looks like it's in Scorpio.
No, it's in Virgo.
No, I'm not talking about his descendant line. I'm talking about his descending node.
His node. I see.
So it's across from his...
Yes, that is in Scorpio.
Yeah. Okay, so I see it, and it actually popped up another little Zubin, one of the claws of...
the Zubinek. Zubinek, yeah.
So interestingly enough, the sign of the constellation of Libra is scales, right? But the scales used to be the claws of a scorpion. Okay, because, and it makes sense because look, it's like related to Scorpio or whatever. It's next to Scorpius.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they changed it over time to the scales, and I think the energy shifted.
Mm-hmm.
He has Jupiter. Is that Jupiter or Saturn?
In Scorpio?
Saturn. That's Saturn.
Yeah, he has Saturn in Scorpio.
He has Saturn and a couple of asteroids that I'm not really familiar with. And then he has his descending node. And the descending node, I usually relate to your ancient roots, your origins. So I would say he's probably originating from that constellation. And that's another mystery because, again, I can't find any information on the lovely internet about these stars and the planets in them and the beings that live there. But I know that there have to be beings that live there.
Yes.
So we got to research that a little more.
Yes.
But that is a really important one. And then he's got Pluto. It's not really aligned with anything, but Vesta is aligned with something.
Mm-hmm. Vesta.
I've never seen that star before. Heza. It's in Virgo. Virgo has a lot of stars in it. It's a big constellation.
Okay.
And then it looks like he's got one in the Leo constellation. And, just Altarf in Cancer. I'm not really sure where Alminar and Alvashak are. So I usually go and search like Alvashak fixed star.
I didn't even see where you were looking.
Sorry, I was looking over. I was just going around the circle. So right here, in Leo.
Okay.
He has two of these stars that are farther away. They're kind of like outside of the constellation circle.
Oh, okay. I see which way you're moving.
And I'm just not sure. It's not showing up. Let's try the other one. Alminhar. Usually you can find something with interesting that popped up.
What?
I don't know what Matt. I guess she has that star in her chart. Oh no, I don't want this. I want your list, Mr. Astrology King. Sometimes I find good stuff on this Constellation of Words website. Not seeing anything there. Yeah, but you can see like it can be kind of hard to find information. Oh yeah, see it says must include. Alminhar, yeah. I only want stuff with that star in it. Hello.
Apparently. Okay, Roddy Clinton is a Valerie.
I'm guessing this star is not in a constellation, which is why it's not showing up.
Would make sense. Okay. So another thing we need to channel.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, where are you? Really? You didn't put them in alphabetical order? Oh, there's Myra. So Myra's in SETI.
Okay.
Which I thought, anyways. It looked like it was. Can I search this thing? Yeah. Oh, look, and this is an astro website. Okay, cool. Alminhar says nothing about it. Wow. Okay. Well, whatever. Don't tell me anything, internet. It's aligned with an asteroid. So I would want to know, first of all, like, what does that asteroid mean? What does it mean in Leo, in whatever house it's in? And then, like, what does that star energy show? Yeah. But I don't think that there's like an actual star origin in terms of anything because.
Okay, so when you say Leo, you're talking about zodiac sign.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about the house. Or I'm sorry, over here, like not the constellation, the zodiac sign.
Okay, yeah. So that's how you lost me. Because when you started talking, I thought you meant Leo so I thought you meant you were saying these names, right? And I thought you were talking about the constellation. So that's what I'm looking for. And I'm like, okay, but then you move the cursor by the Leo zodiac, but I'm like, the Leo is over there. These guys are sitting in Cancer. They're not sitting in Leo. What are you doing?
I know. It's very confusing because the constellations And the zodiac signs have the same names. So when you're talking about it, it's like, wait, what are you talking about right now?
Are you talking about the zodiac or the constellation one? Okay. I'm tracking you now that I know that you were talking about the zodiac and not the constellation. I'm following.
Yes.
You lost me for a minute because I wasn't sure which you were referring.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Another mystery that I recently found is that there is a planet at 55 Canceri, which is somewhere around here, or on the tip of the constellation of Cancer. Mm-hmm. And it is populated by beings that are known as diamond beings, because they live at the 7th dimension.
Okay. Yes.
I have a connection there for sure because I'm a Cancer, so I have a bunch of stuff in that house and aligned with that that constellation. But it's really, really interesting because, like, 55 Cancer, it doesn't show up like that at all on here. So you have to do some digging to find out. You know, basically I looked up planets in the constellation of Cancer. That's what I looked up because I'm trying to figure out if there could be beings there. But moving on to his IC is his Imam Coeli is aligned with Betelgeuse, which is a prominent star in Orion. So he definitely has an Orion lifetime or an alignment with Orion.
I'm not surprised at all.
I'm not either. And it's interesting that it's directly across from the galactic center. That's very interesting. So yeah, that's pretty much how to pull this up and create the star chart.
Okay.
The interpretation is kind of up to the individual. I'm intuitive and I'm clairsentient, so sometimes I just know things, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I need to focus on this, and I don't really understand why until later. But everybody's going to have a little bit of a different way of interpreting.
Also, when it comes to interpreting charts, even if you were just to start interpreting just basic astrological charts, it really is a science of intuition as well. This is where science and intuition overlap, because you yourself, when you're reading our chart, are going to be led to whatever information you are supposed to impart to the person whose chart you're reading. That's how it's going to work. And each one of us is going to have different information we're supposed to share. Some of us, like for example with Rachel and I, we've got a twin flame thing going on, so we're kind of the yin and yang for each other. So a lot of the times our awakenings, our information come in tandem with each other. So either I'll get something and it'll spark her, or she'll get something and it'll spark me. And our information seems to flow back and forth, kind of similar wavelengths, but you may be someone who just has your own. So you can't, as far as learning how to do the charts, great, but then when it comes to interpreting them, you have to figure out what way works best for you.
Yeah, and I like to compare the charts. I find that I learn a lot when I do that. So if you just look over at this one, you can see how different it is just from the beginning. Like, first of all, this is a chart from the 1800s. So everything is in a totally different place.
And easier, it's so much clearer.
Right? I know. I know.
His chart is, but isn't it interesting though? Because one of the most chaotic times I look at is like the 80s was a super chaotic time. Because that's when technological advances were really starting to happen and things. So when you look at his chart, he's a child of the 80s. And it kind of represents the chaoticness of the 80s. It's kind of represented in his chart. Whereas the 1800s was a much simpler time.
Yeah. I am just really, really fascinated by this because Rudolf Steiner is someone that I look up to and I read his stuff a lot. Oh, this is not him.
You know, I was like, this is not, no, this is some.
Where did I go? Did it log me out or something?
No, for some reason it just.
But now I don't see him in the world.
Check your. Yeah,
okay.
Click back again.
Then.
There he is.
Yeah, but see, then it does this, and it changes it. Oh my goodness. I don't know. I guess it doesn't want me to add his descending node. That's all I was trying to do.
Oh, and they were just like, no.
It's got to be like right over here in Cancer.
Of course, it's in Cancer.
Although no, maybe it's, I don't know. I need like a ruler. Yeah, I think it's over there somewhere. But yeah, I am very fascinated by these. I just like could spend all day looking at them and trying to figure out what.
Now that I understand a little bit more what I'm doing, I get the draw.
I mean, basically, you have to know the symbols for the planets. You have to know the zodiac symbols. You need to know the aspects to some degree because you're going to be looking at that further down the road. And you just have to
see. It's funny because the only thing that was struggling for me, I know aspects because I read astrology charts. So if I were to do this without the starseed connection from a pure astrological standpoint, this would be quite easy for me. Not gonna lie. But when you add in the stars and the constellations, that's the area I'm still learning, and I'm still like, I don't know. Now, but it's interesting because over the couple times that I've looked at these with you, I'm starting to recognize certain stars and pick up certain things.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yep. So if there's anybody who has...
Does he have a yod? I want everyone to have yods.
I know. It doesn't look like he does from this, but it's hard to see it with this chart. You have to look at the astrology chart, which I could do, except that it's not letting me save him for some reason. I'm pretty sure it's because I'm logged in as someone else in a different window.
Oh, you're logged in as that. Wait.
See, I'm logged in as me over here, but then in this one, I'm logged in as us.
No, you're logged in as...
That's our...
it's our Mystic Sage.
Mm-hmm. So I probably have to, re-log in or whatever. But anyway.
Okay.
I think that we've covered a lot here, and hopefully it gives people a place to start. And if anyone has questions, you can reach out to us, mysticsagedragonfly.com. We're on Facebook, so, just give us a
shout.
Yeah, and definitely comment if you have any questions in the video.
Yes.
And we can try to help you out.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Bye.